Our budget deficit and the trade war. I deal with a lot of people all across the country, and one thing I'm noticing is regardless of their political leanings, the American people simply do not understand what's going on. Here's a message that I wish the Trump administration would be giving to the American people to help everybody understand the purpose of what they're doing. I say, imagine you're a 45-year-old and you go to the doctor, and the doctor says, okay, based on some of the readings I'm seeing, based on your lab work, I'm not liking the trend that I'm seeing. You are very unlikely, based on the data, to live as long as you should. And even if you do, your later years are going to be very uncomfortable. However, if you change your diet, cut processed foods, reduce sugars, reduce carbs, notice I didn't say eliminate all the good stuff, just reduce them. And then you also start exercising maybe 30 to 45 minutes a day, 3 or 4 times a week, not be a gym rat, but just start getting active. If you do those things, you should not only be able to live longer than expected, but your later years are going to be much happier and healthier because of the changes you make today. Now, how does that apply to the American economy? It's really quite simple. For the long term, our economy going back to 1947 has grown at an average rate of 3.1%. However, over the last 30 years, the economy has only grown at 2.5%. There's such a thing called potential GDP, which is an economic equation that says your country should grow at a rate of the sum of the growth of your labor force plus the growth of productivity. In other words, how many people are working and what are they producing? So that gives you a number that should be, what your country can grow at. But our country has failed to grow at potential. For 30 years, it has underperformed what it should be. And that's because not only do you have the additives, but out of your potential, you have to subtract two things. That's your trade deficit and your budget deficit. When you borrow money, you have to pay interest to somebody else. When you import more than you export, you're paying money out of your economy to somebody else. So we're not growing up potential. So what we are doing as a country is we are trying to get healthier today so that in the future we can not only live as long as we should have a much healthier, happier lifestyle. That's the message. We need to cut our trade deficit. We need to cut our budget deficit. You may not personally like what's happening right now. Just like if I told you to diet and exercise, you're not going to like it at the beginning, but it's necessary. But as you get going on it and you start to see results paying off, that's what's going to happen. So it's the same thing with our economy. We may not like what's happening right now, but you go out 6, 9, 12 months, we're going to start seeing the benefits of these cuts. That should be the message out of the White House. It's not, but that's the message. We have to do this. We need to grow at potential. And the only way we can do that is to cut our trade deficit, cut our budget deficit. We got to get healthier. Take the sacrifice now so that we can be healthier in the long run.